Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Always a pleasure to be back.
Today we're going to be looking at something that seems pretty basic, but it can actually trip people up all the time.
Yeah, it's like one of those things you learn early on, but
Oh
then
yeah.
forget about it
Yeah,
later.
subject-verb agreement.
Exactly.
It sounds simple enough. Make the verb match the subject, singular or plural, and you're good to go. But, well, English has a way of throwing curveballs sometimes, doesn't it?
It does. It does.
So, to really illustrate this, let's jump right into a scenario. Picture this. You're walking down the street, and you overhear someone saying, "My cousin and best friend is the new manager at the coffee shop."
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right. Doesn't it sound just a little bit off?
It does. It does.
Yeah, like you'd naturally expect them to say are.
You would, because your brain immediately sees those two nouns, cousin and best friend, linked together with and just assumes we need that plural verb.
Right. Seems pretty straightforward.
It does, but that's where the sneaky part comes in.
Yeah.
Sometimes that compound subject, those two nouns joined by and, actually refers to a single person or thing.
So in this case, the speaker's cousin and best friend are actually the same person.
Exactly. Two roles, one individual. And that's why the singular verb is actually correct in this case. It all comes down to identifying the true subject of the sentence.
Okay, so even when we see and connecting two nouns, we shouldn't automatically jump to the conclusion that we need a plural verb.
Right. It's not about the number of words, but the actual subject they represent. The verb always has to agree with that, whether it's singular or plural.
So I guess this is a good reminder for our listeners to really pay attention to the meaning of the sentence, not just the structure.
Absolutely. And to give another example, you might hear someone say, the creator and host of the show is a talented individual. It's one person wearing two hats.
Makes perfect sense. But couldn't this rule create ambiguity in some cases? I mean, what if it's not always crystal clear whether the "and" is referring to a single entity or two separate ones?
You're absolutely right. That's where context becomes crucial. You really have to look at the surrounding sentences, the overall meaning, to determine whether that compound subject is truly singular or plural.
So it's kind of like a little detective work within the sentence itself.
Exactly. Sometimes you might even need some additional information to clarify the situation.
Okay, I have to put this to the test. Let's say you're editing an article for a friend, and you stumble upon this sentence. The director and producer of the film are known for their innovative storytelling. What are your thoughts? Is it correct?
Okay, let me think about that for a second. In this case, it's much more likely that the director and producer are two separate individuals, right?
Yeah.
So in this scenario, the plural verb are would be the correct choice.
This has been such a fascinating deep dive. It's amazing how such a seemingly simple rule can have so many layers.
It really highlights the complexity of the English language.
It does. It really shows the importance of paying attention to the details and understanding the context of what we read and write.
Couldn't agree more.
Now, for our listeners out there, I have a little challenge for you. Next time you come across a sentence with a compound subject, take a moment to really analyze it. Ask yourself, is this "and" connecting two distinct things? Or is it referring to a single entity with multiple attributes? You might be surprised by how much this simple exercise can sharpen your grammar skills.
Great advice. Always good to keep those grammar skills sharp.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. And we'll see everyone next time.